I've been at the new land for a couple of weeks now, and this place is absolutely beautiful. But it's also a lot more overwhelming than I expected. It's raw land in the desert, and me trying to figure it all out. I left a life of constant travel for this, for something more permanent, hoping to bring me even more peace. But now that I am here on these 40 acres of raw land, I am starting to realize this is going to take a lot more than I thought. It's a new morning out here, and I'm just getting my solar panels set up for the day. I've been on this land for a few weeks now. And I'll be honest, it's already been a lot. I knew coming into this it wasn't going to be easy. I knew this was raw land and that it was going to take a lot of work to make it livable. But I don't think I expected to feel this overwhelmed this soon. There's just so much to think about. So much I want to do out here. And my mind kind of goes in 100 different directions at once. And I catch myself wanting to do everything all at the same time. And I'm realizing real quick, I can't do that. I'm gonna have to slow down, pace myself, and really think things through. The thing is, I've already been living off-grid for over 4 years now. And between my Jeep and my schoolie, I've learned a lot about how to live simple, how to be self-sufficient, and how to make things work with what I have. So I plan on taking everything I've learned from that life and bringing it out here to the land. But this is different. This is starting from scratch. There's no setup already waiting for me. No systems in place. It's just the land and figuring it all out as I go. And I think that's where the overwhelm comes from. Just realizing how much there is to build, how much there is to learn. Now I know I just need to focus on the basics first, the necessities, the things that are actually going to make this place livable one step at a time. This is a whole new chapter for me, a whole new learning experience. And even though it feels a little heavy right now, I know this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. one of the things that we had to do at the property, because it is raw land, is get a physical address. And so had to go to the county, talk to the people at the county, and filled out a little bit of paperwork. And I guess what they're giving us is they call it a 911 emergency address. I'm hoping that means that's a physical address. But on the on Google Maps, when we're standing at the property, it does show a certain address, but just want to make sure it matches up to the address the county gives us. And so the county said that it'll take about 2 weeks for us to get that address, and then we'll go to the post office and all that. So with that being said, because I don't have a physical address at the property right now, the land, little one, my dog, she gets her food delivered. So I specially order a certain kind of food for her because she's spoiled. But her food is being delivered actually tomorrow. And it's being delivered to my friend's property on the other side of the state. Because my friend's property is what I was using as my home base for the last couple of years. And well, I really need to get her food, so I had to drive all the way back over here to my friend's property so I could get her food delivered. And then I'm hoping once I get back to the property, the new land, new property, I'm hoping that we'll have an address. Sorry, I'm trying to turn. So, while I'm here in this little town where my friend has his place at, I'm gonna pick up a few more things at his place. Little one, her favorite groomer and my favorite groomer is here in this town right here. So I just went and dropped her off to go get her nails trimmed, to get a bath, and get a little bit of her hair cut. She's gonna look like a straight chihuahua when I go pick her up. But anyways, since I'm also here, I'm gonna go visit the lake that's down here. It's Lake Mead and the Colorado River together. And just go sit and have a little bit of nature therapy, because it's been a stressful last month for sure. So while my little one is having a spa day, Mama is going to have a mama day. So I have to say, after being on the road traveling for 4.5 years full time, and now stopping my travels because I have the off-grid land now that I'm trying to make livable for me, it's a big adjustment for me. Very big adjustment. You know, traveling full time for 4.5 years, I was constantly on the go. You know, having to move every 2 weeks, exploring little adjustment for me sitting still now. But I'll get adjusted. Definitely don't want to be out there traveling right now with the gas prices. I know that much. All the money being spent on gas with those traveling could be used to making my off-grid property livable right now. So coming out here to pick up little one's food, I'm taking advantage of going to some of my favorite spots out here and having a little bit of that nature therapy time and do a lot of thinking. My mind has just been racing since I've been at the property. I think my biggest concern right now is just making the land livable. And then, I've already mentioned this before, I will go and take little small road trips, little camping trips, you know. Because it'll be nice to have a break. I haven't had a break in a month. This is the first break I'm getting right here. It's crazy. There's the lake. Ooh, you can still see how low the water is. Good old Lake Mead and Colorado River. This is actually where Lake Mead and the Colorado River actually combine and meet. So, little fun fact there. And here we are. Dirt road. Has a bunch of Joshua trees and a view of the Grand Canyon cliffs. Find a little spot and just sit and take it all in and look at these beautiful cliffs and do some thinking. I love coming down this dirt road. It's never busy. You definitely need a four-wheel drive to go down this road too, on certain spots. So I am in my Jeep. I didn't drive my bus. I left my bus at the property because, well, the gas is outrageous right now, and I get better gas mileage with this Jeep right here. And it feels good to be able to drive the Jeep a little bit more again. spot to pull over at, but it is so windy here today. Go figure. Story of my life. Wind. But I wanted to jump out and show you guys real quick. So this, all that right there is the Grand Canyon Cliffs. That's the Grand Canyon Cliffs for, I think it's Grand Canyon West, which is where the skywalk is. So that's the cliffs of the Grand Canyon. And then you guys can see all the Joshua trees around and stuff. So beautiful and peaceful. And then wind. And the Jeep. Got the Jeep. So, yeah. I needed this little trip. Have a little break from the property and everything that I've been doing there. Because it's overwhelming. It really is. You know, now that I've been at the property for a little bit, and the excitement of being there and being there has wore off a little bit. I mean, there's still excitement, but now that excitement is turning into being overwhelmed, wondering if I'm going to be able to do this, because I've never done a lot of stuff that I'm excuse me, about to be doing at the land. I might have to get inside of the Jeep and continue this conversation because the wind is really, really bad. But anyways, I'm gonna give you guys a view of these Grand Canyon cliffs real quick and then get back in the Jeep. Whew! The wind is crazy. Absolutely crazy. They say this is how Arizona is during the springtime, and that's why it's so windy at the property right now too. So just got to tough out this springtime right now. But anyways, yeah, being overwhelmed. You know, obviously I've been watching a lot of other YouTube channels that are doing the homesteading and the off-grid living on raw land and stuff, and I watch a lot of stuff that they're doing, and I'm just like, I'm very impressed. Especially some of the females that I watch. Extremely impressed. They're very knowledgeable and such hard workers. So, you know, I've never built anything in my life. I've put a dresser together and a cabinet together that had directions that I bought from a store. But I've never, like, actually built anything myself. And obviously, I've said plenty of times that this is going to be a learning process for me. But things are a little bit different with me. And I've told you guys before, you know, I suffer with multiple mental illnesses, which I have managed to control so much better being on the road traveling and working on myself and everything. But some of those things, like if I get stressed out too bad, like really bad, it could put me in a really bad mood for the whole day, if not 2 days. It could trigger my depression, And then also I have ADHD. And ADHD is, you know, the one that I have is I have a hard time focusing. Like I could be doing something and completely lose my train of thought of what I was doing. Or I could be talking to somebody, and if that person is talking to me too much, my mind will go elsewhere and not even hear them talking anymore. I have a hard time on concentrating on things really, really hard. Meaning, you know, like me editing my videos and stuff. This is why it takes me a whole entire day to edit one video, because I have to stop and take breaks so many times because I lose my train of thought on editing the video. And then I'll get frustrated and stuff. So it takes me a whole day to do that. So now I just sit here and think about it, you know, like me working at the property and building things and stuff like that. I feel like I know I'm going to have to take breaks in the middle of doing all this stuff, because I'm going to get frustrated. And this is definitely going to be a test on me, most definitely. But I know it's the best thing for me. It really is. I was burned out on traveling full time. I was burned out. I was burned out on constantly moving every 14 to 16 days, having to find a new place to go to, just, you know, set up camp and everything. And I was just burned out. And to have a place of my own is going to be nice. I've been in this situation before. You know, when I first started traveling, that was all new to me. Very new. And I was going through all the emotions that I'm going through right now. But we all saw how that went. I figured it out, just like I'll figure this out. But there's just so much that runs through my head, you know. I'm definitely going to have to take things slow for my mental well-being. And also I'm going to have to take it slow because, you know, I'm coming into this whole 40 acres and everything with not a whole lot of, I'm not rich. So I've got to go with the flow of my money and the flow of me, you know. So also, I know I keep saying homestead. Well, to me, I feel like having a homestead is when you have animals. And whereas we do plan on having animals, we'd love to have chickens, obviously, goats, and whatever other animals, you know, we decide we want to have. But that's going to be a little further down the road. We have to get the land livable first, especially for the winter that's coming up, because we will have a lot of snow. So that's the most important thing, is getting the land livable. I already have the water situation figured out. I got a 450-gallon water tank. I'm still going to live minimalist, even though I have a bigger water tank now, but I did the math on how much water I carry in my bus and everything, and how long that water would last me for about a month. And a 450 gallon water tank. I know some of you guys, when I announced that, said, oh, that's not going to last you long at all. Well, I'm still going to live very minimalist, and I'm still going to be using my water very sparingly. So I'm not going to be wasting the water, you know. So with the 450 gallon water tank, using it as my personal tank for right now, meaning for dishes, washing dishes, brushing my teeth, cooking, taking a shower. And mind you, I don't take showers every single day. I don't. So, and when I do take showers, I use the water very sparingly. The shower head goes on and off, you know. So with the 450 gallon water tank, it should last me half of the year. So ideally, I'm only going to have to get that water tank refilled once or twice a year. I think that's pretty good. Now, in the future, when we do want to start having a garden and growing our vegetables and everything, which we will probably have a greenhouse to do that with, because the soil on the land I don't think is really good for doing a garden and growing vegetables. And then not only that, you have to think about the coyotes and the mice and the critters and whatever animals there might be out there getting into the garden. So a greenhouse is definitely going to be the way to go. But that's going to be in the future also. Because like I said, the most important thing is getting it livable for me to live on right now. It's a lot to figure out. And I really hope that you guys will be patient with me with taking it slow and taking my time. Because I look at these other YouTubers that are doing it and I feel like they're just knocking things out. Like knocking things out left and right. I don't know if like they've just been filming it over the last year and you know, holding on to the video footage and then releasing it. But I feel like they just are on top of it. And I just don't have the means to be on top of it so quickly right now, you know. So I have to do the most important things, which is figure out my water situation. And I've already figured that out. Figure out how I'm going to live, especially during the winter time when we get a bunch of snow. Which I've already given that a few thoughts. So I'll make that announcement soon on another video. I'm not going to make any rationalized decisions on what I want to have as my actual home on the land yet, because I want to be able to, me personally, I would like to live the rest of the year on the land and really get a feel of the land, meaning get a feel for the weather every single season, the wind all year long, and just get a feel for the land and really think it through on what I want to have as my actual home on the land. So I think it's smart for me to feel the land out and the property out the rest of the year before I make that decision on what I want as my actual home. I'm pretty guilty and bad about making rationalized decisions, and almost 70-80% of the time later on down the road I'm like, oh, why did I do that? And so this is a big thing in my life and a big decision that I just need to feel it out. So it's a lot. I'm not going to give up on this though. It's one good thing about me is when I have a goal that I set and I really want to do something, I'll make it happen. And I'm going to make this happen. It's just going to be a lot of a lot of different emotions. Alright, I guess it's time for me to go pick up the little one. And you guys get to see her new haircut. And then we get back on the road tomorrow and head back to the property and start getting some things done. So please be patient with me, guys. Things will all come together eventually. Alright, let's go get little one from the groomer. Wait till you guys see how excited she is. She gets really excited. It's actually one of my favorite things about taking her to the groomer, is going to pick her up. Because I'll walk in and she's like so excited, like I've been gone for months or something. Alright. Okay, we're almost there to go get little one from her spa day. You know, as long as I've had little one, and I've had her since she was 3 months old, and she's about to be 14 now. Out of all the groomers I've taken her to, this has definitely been my most favorite groomer of hers. And I think hers also. I can always tell with the way she reacts to the groomer on how she feels about them. And she doesn't seem to really try to bite these people. She did once, the first time I ever took her here. But she doesn't shake a lot when I hand her over or anything either. So that definitely shows what kind of people they are. Because my little munchkin is a very temperamental dog when it comes to other people. Alright, we're here. Let's go get her. Okay, so decided to make a little pit stop because this was not too far off the road, but I've always wanted to come up here and see this place right here, and I wanted to check out their campground, but their campground is actually closed. Still closed for the season because the area is still getting a little bit of snow, but I'm probably going to say this wrong. Kebab Lake here in Williams, Arizona, and if I said it wrong, sorry. Yeah, I've always wanted to come and check this lake out and check the campground out, but it can't really drive through the campground because it is blocked off right now. But the lake, it wraps around a little bit, but you can definitely see how low the water is. It's pretty low. But it's still a beautiful area. There's something about lakes in the mountains and in the forest and everything that I just love. You know, the lakes are, the big body of water surrounded by, you know, the beautiful pines. Absolutely beautiful. But you know what? You know what there isn't? There's not a bear. Actually, I don't even know if bears are out of hibernation yet, so I think it's May that they come out of hibernation, so, but we all know bears hide from me. Beautiful area, though. Absolutely beautiful. And not only do you have the beautiful pines right here surrounding the whole entire body of water, but you got the mountain way off in the distance. Stunning. Absolutely stunning.